What is up? Hey. What is up, folks? Wow, we already have people. What's up, Turbo? What's up, Chaos? What's up, Sleuzy? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Flypswitch podcast. We're about to start. We're just waiting for people to join in. And while we're joining in, new Flypswitch podcast time. Yay! This time it's going to be a little more inclusive. I just saw this conversation happening. What's up, Vidhi? What's up, Tanuj? Welcome aboard. Welcome back. How's it going? Netflix Tudum global event is going on. What is Tudum? This is the event we're talking about. What is Tudum? Tudum. Tudum. I don't know how to pronounce that. What's happening? How was your experience with the YouTube notifications that kept spamming for the last week or so? Were there too many? What's the event have heard a lot about it? I have no idea. Let's just check it out in the meanwhile we are waiting for people. Netflix Tudum event. It's a fan event. Alright, creators meet Netflix people. I have no idea. Yeah, it's a global fan event live stream with people. What's up, Ramneek? Namaskar. Welcome, guys. Do not forget to drop the likes already so that YouTube gets to work. क्या हाल है तनुज? क्या ले? YouTube is आप बताओ क्या हाल से? YouTube is happening. Plus, we played a bunch of games, discovered a couple of things, and I wanted to discuss this. This was the topic last time as well, and I felt that this could be, a topic for a stream later on as well, so that everybody can have their say. Because हम लोग बहुत टाइम से बात कर रहे थे कि इस बारे में बात करनी चाहिए, ये एड्रेस करना चाहिए. Then I just saw a conversation thread on Twitter as well, and turns out, that needs to be addressed as well. Hello, Vivek. So many people. Naughty gang. What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the podcast. I think I'm going to be joined by... Alright. Wait. Wait a sec. We believe in podcast supremacy. Nice. Wait. Invited to speak, sir. What's up, Trip? I've invited you to speak. What's up?
Hello,
how are you?
Doing good. How about you?
Good. We're waiting for a couple of people. We just started the live stream as well, so the rest of the people should be joining in ASAP, as we call it. We will also have a couple of OGs from the community, and we're gonna, include them later on once these guys come into the audience. And if you guys are willing to be part of the conversation, drop into the Flypswitch Discord. Link is in the description, and yeah, join the stage, and we will include you in the conversation. That's all right. How's it going? How was the stream? Are you streaming still?
No, I got done.
Oh, nice.
I got done right before. Played a few games of Apex. Won a
Right.
few. It was pretty fun.
Oh, nice. How many dubs today?
3 dubs today. 3
Sweet.
dubs on stream. 2 more before.
Wow. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Are servers better now? I was thinking of dropping into a couple of games as well myself.
They are much better than they were after the patch.
Right.
I think it's reverted back to how it was before the patch. You still get
Okay.
some dead like shitty servers where you get 400 ping, but
Right.
otherwise it's alright. It's playable.
We have some people in the chat saying, विवेक सिंह in the chat, भाई आजकल मेरे दोस्तों में बहुत अमीरी आ गई है भाई. Full Starbucks baji. Wow. Nice. What's up, devil? Oku is like busy beefing on Twitter right now. I saw that conversation. And that is going to be a part of the conversation as well. Because I really feel that needs to be addressed. And if we can talk about it, I think the rest of the people will automatically understand, or at least try to get on the same page. But I think we will be waiting for others. We'll start the conversation right off. Not a problem. I'm going to hide my face soon, just so that, you know. How to join the podcast conversation? If you're there on the Flypswitch server, HQ server, you will see the stage going on. Just 2 of us right now with you guys in the chat, and yeah, that is it. That is there. So once you raise the hands, once we are at that point where we can include, invite you to speak, sir. What do you know about Dr. Disrespect doing case in YouTube? Yes, sir. Sorry, Twitch. Yes, already. That we discussed. No, we didn't actually. But that was sort of why we spoke about, and we discussed, in fact, Dr. Lupo and Tim the Tatman shifting to YouTube. And that's a huge thing to see, because a lot of people are unaware of what is going on at that level of creator economy, because that's like the 1% of all the creators. But in the meanwhile, there's compensation in millions, probably. Yeah, but I mean, the kind of damage that was done to Dr. Disrespect, because he was not in between any sort of, platform wars or agency wars or something like that. So any sort of platform partnership was not coming to him. So he just had to switch to YouTube. He had no options. But I think falling back, that kind of backup plan every creator needs to have.
Are you talking about what happened last year when he was
Yeah.
banned from Twitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
That way, I think he got banned. Plus, and that was the same time Mixer wound up their operations, and they just
Swooped
have
in.
no. Yeah, this just swooped in, but YouTube didn't do anything. But these recently, when Dr. Lupo and Tim the Tatman were acquired, specifically, that sort of hinted how India should also, look at YouTube, because we don't have anything else apart from YouTube. We need to change the way YouTube is being used in India, specifically when it comes to live streamers.
I don't think YouTube's the only thing we have. There's also Loco, but I think you have to be signed by Loco for that. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, but again, the locals, Loco, there is Loco, there is Router, and then there are a bunch of other platforms. Another one called something by S, I guess. I forgot the name, that Tencent had investments in. Still have. These guys have it. Those aren't really the platforms, because these guys haven't acquired the kind of eyeballs that they can offer to any streamer. If you want to do that, I think you're better off going to Twitch. So, look that way. That is one sort of conversation that we'll do in the next episode.
Okay.
For sure. But I think for now, let's begin. I'm gonna hide my face. Hold on. Yep. Where is? There you go. That's purple shrimp for you guys.
Hello.
And namaste and a very warm welcome to the brand new episode of Digital Gathering Radio Show. No, sorry, I'm bad. I'm very bad with this. Sometimes I miss my old podcast, which was not exactly a podcast, but it was a radio show. But welcome to the Flypswitch podcast. We here, Purple Shrimp, and myself, and a bunch of other creators who are going to join. We're going to discuss, and a bunch of other gamers who are also going to join, and you can also join us on the Flypswitch stage on Discord. But we are talking about a couple of issues that we faced. Not a couple, actually, a lot more than that, and we're going to talk about those, starting with the kind of experience everybody had once they started gaming. I want to understand with all the thoughts in mind, with all the conditions everybody had. What was it like to begin your gaming journey, Shrimp?
Okay, so the start of my gaming journey dates back to when I was 8 years old, so that's 15 years ago. When my brothers got their PC and they wouldn't let me play on it because I'm a girl.
All right.
And yeah, so I still wanted to play because I'd see them having so much fun. And then whenever they'd go off for breaks, I'd sneak a few games of, um, I think it was Icy Tower, you know, that weird platform game where there's this tiny goblin you gotta jump up on platforms.
Right.
That was the start of my gaming journey, and I used to try and beat their
High
records,
score.
but
Yeah.
never really managed to because they were always got to play a lot more than I did because I went there only a few times.
Right.
And yeah, and now I can run circles around them in any game that they choose.
Oh.
So yeah, my introduction to gaming was essentially just my brothers playing Contra, playing Condition Zero, playing Icy Tower on their PCs, and I remember when I actually hardcore got into gaming was when I got obsessed with Dota when I was 14.
Wow.
Um, a friend of mine showed me the game and I was hooked. I mean, there was no getting me off of Dota. And then I got into cosplay through that and then got into the community because of that and started attending events. And that's
Right.
what's led to me being who I am today.
Nice. So, I mean, you just started multiplayer off the bat, right off the bat, or did you start with single players with that as well?
So like I
Yeah.
said, I played Icy Towers. The
I see that.
first game that I
Yeah.
ever played was like a single player. But I also tried like um a little bit of 1.6 in the start, but it was
Right.
mainly just Dota that got me hooked onto gaming. So yeah, it was multiplayer that got me hooked.
Right. Oh, that is. And what was this for? I mean, like, how was the experience? You started multiplayer. You started interacting with people right off the bat. If I'm not
Um,
wrong. No.
it's a mixed sort of experience, right? Because
Right.
um I played with a lot. I made a lot of friends through the game. I had a lot of friends who I used to play with,
Right.
and these friends were very supportive. One of them's in the audience right now, OG the Low Res Chicken,
Oh.
Valocaster. Shout out to him. But I usually play with my friends, right? So it's been. I received a lot of support from these friends, regardless of my gender, regardless of who I am,
Right.
regardless of how well I play the game.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about strangers over the internet, when you're playing with randoms, when you queue with randoms,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially as a woman, there's usually three reactions that I would get. The first one is, um, a toxic, you're a girl, so you're a noob
Bro.
sort of
Okay. Right.
response.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the second one is them just plain straight out blatantly simping.
Mm-hmm.
And the third
Is
one,
that
that's
what the
that's the
shrimp comes from? So I don't know. It's shrimp
No, I
sims
actually made
plus.
purple shrimp when I was really young, and all I could think of was favorite color and favorite food. So,
Oh, like that. Yeah.
right,
Right.
going back to what I was saying, the third response is it's the sweet spot. It's the indifference towards whether you're a girl or a guy. They're just like just play.
Right.
That's what I want all
From
my interactions to be.
from there, did any sort of challenge sprout out that you faced and felt like, okay, gaming I'm trying to get into, but uh, this is what's stopping me.
No,
Was
see, I feel like there's so much toxicity on the internet because of the anonymity of it all.
right,
And that's you're gonna face that regardless of whether you're a male or a female, and you can't let that inhibit you when you're going into something that, especially because gaming is so much of a passion for me. I
right.
can't let just one of one like a few people on the internet. I can't just let these randos be toxic enough to stop me from playing. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah, I
that's
usually
one of the
just take
biggest.
it in through one ear and out through the other.
This is one of the biggest issues I've seen as well. Like there's a huge imbalance in the sex ratio in the entire community, gaming especially. Like I
Mm.
see right now it's sort of balanced, excluding the people in the audience because it's 1v1 right now, right? But
Yeah.
otherwise, like I'm talking about people in general. Like if I am trying to reach out to gamers right now, right off the bat,
Mhm.
the ratio is about 8:2.
Yeah.
Two girls that I could reach out to, and you know, sorry, 4:10. That. So that would make what
Okay.
5:2, like that. That would be the ratio. Two girls for five guys I can invite for this sort of conversation as well. That's the
Yeah. Yeah.
disparity. And
Yeah, I've
it's a
been
rough
working with
calculation.
gaming companies earlier as well, and I've literally always been the only female there. Much to my mom's chagrin, like every single time I go out with my gaming friends, she's like, "Are there gonna be girls there?" I'm just like, "No, mom, they're gamers. There's
Yeah.
no girls." I literally have, I think, six female friends who play video games in total,
Right.
and
Do I
guys,
know?
endless. Like I can't even count.
Yeah. That's
So
that's.
yeah.
Could you name some people that we know of?
So there's some of my newer friends are Vanny and Stabby,
Right.
two content creators.
Right.
There's also Quacko Quack YT.
Okay.
She's also an Apex streamer.
Mhm.
Then there's some of my old cosplay friends. Sana, I don't think you guys would know any of the non-streamer friends that I have. So yeah,
Cosplayers. Mm.
cosplayers like Oren, Akanksha, Medha.
Hey, not that
Hmm.
I know their full names, but sort of. I think I recall these names from the Comic Con scene, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes, definitely. Definitely will.
Comic
Um,
Con would be the right place to be when you want
mhm,
to meet these guys, because they put on
yeah,
a show, and that is the show that you don't want to miss. Essentially, because
definitely.
this is
Definitely,
where
it was loads of fun. Cosplaying was a really fun place, and especially, so before I started cosplaying, I had zero female friends who played video games. After I started cosplaying, that's when the numbers started going up.
wow. So that's exactly how. That's the entry gate for you. What was the experience like? I
Yeah.
mean, who was the first person you played
Um,
or you hit out? What was the conversation? Because
in
I really
the
don't see
gaming
the
community,
right.
the first person that I connected with was Ishan Arya from TEC.
Right, I'm talking about the she.
Oh,
Yeah,
the females?
females. Yeah, that's
Females was Oren. Oren used to work with Nodwin, I believe, at the time.
okay.
And I was cosplaying as Queen of Pain from Dota 2.
Okay.
And she saw me and she's just like, wow, holy shit, you're the first female you're the first Queen of Pain I've seen in India. That is
Right.
so cool. And she really liked my costume and we just sort of hit it off from there, started talking. She's like, I'm gonna introduce you to everyone, and that's where I met everyone.
Nice.
So yeah.
And any sort of challenge that you faced, when it came to interacting with one guys off the internet, like I said, I remember this thing very well. Um, you know, us boys when we started playing,
Mhm.
and one lady would jump in. This
Mhm.
this would be something like, "Ooh, there's a girl gamer here," and that's how. I mean, that's exactly what would be the tone like, because guys. just don't expect. And do not take us
Yeah.
wrong. That's the
Yeah,
scare. I
no.
mean, it's like water in desert. So
Yeah, like I told you earlier, there are three responses
right.
that I've gotten. And so the toxic stuff I usually take in through one ear and out through the other.
Yeah.
The simps, I send them to my YouTube channel because free views.
Nice.
And yeah, that's literally just how I deal with it. To be honest, it's not really much of a challenge when it comes to just words.
Right.
Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with anything in person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been just words on the internet, and that shit just goes in through one ear and out through the other. So it's just
Yeah.
something that I've learned to deal with. Just like, I mean, every woman on earth has ever learned to deal with catcalling
Wow.
and those sort of things. It's just
Right.
something like that. You just sort of learn to live with it and to
Right.
ignore it most of the time.
Has it ever aggravated into some sort of issue that you
So
know?
usually when guys are toxic to me on the internet, I tend to be slightly toxic back because I have my own fair share of toxicity. And what you say, for example, if someone went, "Ooh, there's a girl here," I'd be like,
Right.
"Ooh, there's a noob here,"
Mm.
or something like that.
Wow. So the eye for an eye goes right
Yeah.
in the place when it comes to that. And I mean, yeah, I mean, this is turning into a professional landscape as well. So I mean, once it turns into that, you need to
Um,
have.
when it comes to professional landscapes, when it comes to working in the gaming community, because I have been doing that for a while now,
Okay.
um, it has been it's actually been really good. Like,
Okay.
I have not been treated any different from my male counterparts.
Right.
Um, I used to work at AFK Gaming. It's
Okay.
a gaming media company.
Right.
And
That's
even though
blog
I was
and
always
more than
the
that.
only female there,
Mm-hmm.
I never felt unsafe or unwanted or different. I was one of the guys. So, and I was perfectly fine with that.
Right. I mean, that's a blog, if I'm not wrong, or is it more than that?
It's a media company.
Media company, right?
Yeah.
See that way, I just want to understand because a lot of females have faced this. That anyway, there's a disparity in a lot of things, but this particular landscape of gaming, a 5-year-old can do better than a 20-year-old when it comes to a couple of games, or a 10-year-old, not a 5-year-old, or 13-year-old to be legal.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
So I play Apex with these children. Like there's 14 and 16-year-olds, and
they
they're
slay.
so good. They're
Yeah,
so good because they have those childlike reflexes. It almost gives me a complex. But I mean,
right.
I feel like I have sort of created um the sort of community around me that is accepting of you
Inclusive.
regardless of gender or age or any differences that we may have. The people that I keep around me are very supportive, and I feel like that's very important. Is to create that community around yourself. Is to not be surrounded by toxic people
Right.
in your circle. Yeah.
Stoicism, if you will, would you call it stoicism by any chance? Or it's just fencing out or filtering, heavy filtering of the thoughts that
Yeah,
turn
it's
towards you.
generally the people that I keep around me are the ones that are supportive, that the ones that aren't toxic. That's
Right.
literally just it.
And what has changed in terms of parental societal pressure? You said you started gaming when you were
8.
8, and
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
15 years
that's
ago.
so yeah, my brothers were mainly my into gaming,
Right.
and there was uh on the gender front there was um a few issues there. They said I couldn't play because I was a girl, or I was a noob because I was a girl, and
Mm-hmm.
um it it was painful, definitely,
Mm-hmm.
but I overcame that because I was so passionate about it.
Right.
Um, my parents don't understand gaming in general.
Right.
Forget that I'm a girl or a guy. they just
Story
don't
of
understand
90% of India.
the idea of gaming. At least they didn't until a while ago, until I started working in the field and earning from it.
Right.
They were like, "Oh, what is this waste of time?"
Right.
Right?
I totally understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "You play all day," and I'm just like, "Yes, but I'm getting paid to do it." They're like, "Oh, okay."
Nice. Makes sense. That way.
Yeah.
Then.
So, um, one thing that stuck with me, like it was a few months ago. My mom was just like, "The games you play are so violent. There must not be many girls that play it." And I was just like, "Oh shit, mom,
Right.
that's not a nice thing to say." No,
Yeah.
see, how they see the games that I play, because they're FPS shooter, they're first-person shooters, right? They see it as violence, not as strategy.
True.
So yeah, so to them that's just like, why do you want to do that? And I'm just like, I'm not gonna go shoot people IRL. This is a strategy involved. Just like chess is essentially war.
There.
It's the same thing.
Exactly. I remember this thing. This was essential. The biggest part of my life. When there was this time when I believe, I don't know. Have you played Midtown Madness by any chance?
No, I haven't.
Right. So Midtown Madness was something that was a game much more popular than NFS in my formative years, and I would play this game at least 3 hours a day, doing nothing, just driving around the town, nothing else, trying to kill people which were not programmed to be killed. But so no, I mean, just run over them, not kill people. Sorry, my bad, because that's exactly what I was told, that if you start driving like this, you would be in jail in no time. I was like, I know, which is why I'm trying to do that here, because because it's not about me trying to kill. That was never my mindset. I was just trying to understand why is that not happening in the game, particularly in that particular game, because otherwise in other games that was happening. So that was the curiosity that kept me doing that. And then a lot of people, and including family members, they were like, do not play this game ever again. You want to play something? Play something like Zoo Tycoon. Why don't you do that? You want to play something? Play something like this one, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I like that. Why
Yeah.
Tycoon? Because Gujarati. No, it's not just that. I mean,
What?
yeah, because Tycoon. Why not? Because you'd be establishing a business that should give you some sort of some sort of a thought, some sort of thought to your mindset. It'll add some sort of knowledge to your kitty, and that's how it'll develop your skill set, which I understood, by the way, which early on came to my mind that okay, this game teaches me this, then how to build a business of entertainment, particularly. Then was where I started understanding what would be those key metrics to develop a certain idea. On the other hand, Zoo Tycoon would be more about animals. So how to clear a dog's poop was was taught to me in that game, because that was also there and needs to be taken care of, and the animals need to be taken care of very diligently. So that was where I started understanding the rest of the animal kingdom here on Earth. And then the other one would be Midtown Madness still, by the way. Why? Because I just want to drive around. I want to see what exactly driving feels like. And that way we started with NFS, a bunch of other things, and then came global operations long before CS was even a thought. Global operations would happen, and then this would just turn into something else entirely. Why are you killing people? No, we're not killing people. We are at war. And finally, we had certain people who had this military background. So we had this one in a conversation in the last episode, where he was talking about he is from a military background. So playing something like Age of Empires was quite a narrative while developing that bond with his parents as well, because that straight up hit up with them, and they were very welcoming of that. So that way, I understand, like, the parents have different mindsets as well, and even societies have different mindsets when it comes to gaming.
Yeah, definitely.
And there was this one when PUBG came around, everything changed because people were, you know, they were exposed essentially to something they were never uh, used to.
Yep.
So
Yep.
all of us gamers who have been exposed to gaming since the start of the gaming industry in India, and that would be 2000s, early 2000s. A lot of people were not even born. Fortnite kids, hello. But but I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about this one, early 2000s or late 90s. The
Mm-hmm.
gaming started. They started developing different sort of environments where people could, think a little more freely. But no offense to Fortnite kids, by the way. I was just kidding. But on the other hand, this introduction to games particularly uh, is what matters the most. The gateway,
The gateway. Yes, correct.
right?
I
So
feel like you said, PUBG was a massive gateway for a lot of people in India,
exactly,
especially, and definitely for like we talked about the disparity in the sex ratio, right?
right,
Especially for females, a lot of my female friends who had never touched a video game before in their lives started playing PUBG literally every day, and I was just like,
there.
whoa,
That
what the
is
heck?
there. We used
I
to
think it's also more about the accessibility of it because it's on the phone. Everyone has a phone,
exactly.
and yeah.
And that way we just started bro vibing. And then came Among Us, which was again
Oh
a good
yeah.
game to play for a lot of people. Accessibility, portability, and so much more than just shooting people in the head. So people started accepting that for a game, but again, that was not on the positive side of the spectrum of gaming, particularly because
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
teamwork and betrayal. It's not even just teamwork like that. So people didn't understand that. But at Minecraft, nobody would
Yeah.
spend to play a pixelated game. So so that way people didn't do that. But I think that should
I,
be
I I used to be obsessed with Minecraft for a while.
really
At least like 4 or 5 months. Used to
right.
play almost every day.
What did you do in that?
We built a few castles, some crazy shit.
Have you checked out Valheim by any chance? You actually build castles in that one, like
Pardon?
legit castle. Valheim. It's
Valheim.
there. It's
Okay,
a
I'll check it out.
it's a survival game and it's a beautiful game when it comes to surviving in the Viking times.
Uh-huh.
So
It's
cool.
on Steam?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was discounted recently. I don't know. I think these guys would be discounting it later on. But again, I mean,
Mm.
this particular introduction to this whole gaming sphere, the gaming community especially, a lot of
Mhm.
people didn't have the right gateway. PUBG came in,
Yeah.
turned out to be a shooting game. Everybody
Uh-huh.
thought they can emulate in in their lives, but thankfully, the female gamers were not seen doing this.
Mhm.
Essentially, because guys sometimes, some of the guys, right, they go overboard like that, and then simping or not, they just go off the rails sometimes. So yeah, I understand that, but something that I have understood that gaming can do is bring people together. Uh,
Definitely.
Easiest way to do that is
Definitely,
put
definitely.
them in.
I am so close to my friends that I play with. There are a few people that I play with every single day, and I would trust them with my life.
Wow.
Definitely.
We also have Fishy, little Fishy, who's been
Hello.
an OG. I'm trying to move her to what the heck? Wait, I'm trying to move her to this one, and in the
I
meanwhile,
think just accept it for her to move in
yep,
once you've
this is it.
invited.
And this is where what? Wait,
Night Banach.
somehow, it's not
Mm-hmm.
letting me let people in.
It's not letting you let people in.
Yeah.
Ask her to
Yeah. Could you
ask little fishy to raise their hand.
Yeah, that is a possibility. Fish.
At the bottom, you know, that raise hand thingy.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go. Accept the request. Hello, Fishy.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello.
I'm good. How are you guys?
You guys, you sea creatures meet each other. Shrimp, fishy, shrimp.
Hello. What a coincidence.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we were just trying to address these things where we talked about how I met Fish, and this is the case that I kept quiet, by the way, when I met Fish first, because everybody was pretty assertive of the fact that she would be a she, not a he.
Mhm.
And I would be like, okay, if you are a female, crouch. She did when I turned around.
I remember that.
so, so that happened. And that way, I realized that she waited for me to do that, and and that was our introduction. That's how we started, and
Nice.
essentially, and that turned into quite a bond. We've stuck around for what, 4 years now, 3 years, 3 or 4
Yeah, I
years.
guess so.
3 years.
3, 4, yeah.
Yeah, and this has been a fabulous interaction, as
That's
well, because
beautiful.
and that's one side of things, but on the other one, when you did not meet us, Fish, uh, what was your experience, as a female gamer when you started gaming in general? Because that sort of, I understand that is a very broad question. What was the first issue that you faced when you started gaming?
I don't think I faced any that kind of gender issue or anything like that,
Right.
because whenever I used to play alone only, and I
Right.
never interacted with any of my teammates or anyone, so they didn't know that I'm a girl, and I had no issue with it.
Right.
So I was only focusing on my own gameplay. So I don't think I faced any issue like that at
That's
that time.
right.
Even now, I think I don't speak to my teammates because
Wow.
you know how they are. Either they'll be toxic or they'll be like, you know,
Simping.
well, most of the time they're toxic. So I avoid that.
60,
Yeah.
70%, 70% toxic, 40% simping.
Math, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to quantify a little because I don't know. that's how we understand a little bit of maths. Otherwise, we don't understand, and especially when quantifying simping.
Yeah.
So
So, I feel like certain games you can afford to not talk, and I feel like females would prefer not to interact with their teammates whenever they can, just to avoid that toxicity.
right, and the new ping system also
So,
helps, I think. Right?
yeah, definitely.
It sort of builds up from there, but also, I mean, for the gamers who are out there, the female gamers essentially, who've been trying to get into this, but they're stuck with either Candy Crush or Among Us. I don't know, but they're trying to.
Yeah.
What would be your first tip ever that you would like to
Just play
give to them?
whatever you want.
That
I mean, even if it's Candy Crush or Among Us or indies like Life is Strange, It Takes Two, Ori and the Blind Forest. These are some of my few of my favorite games.
right?
Narratives are beautiful to play. For single players, are some of them are like just amazing. And there's such a wide variety of games. Just play whatever you want to play. To be honest, don't worry about what others are gonna say.
No, it's not about worrying. I'm just saying that everybody needs that gateway game, right? Like we were just discussing about what the gateway game would be. What do you think is the typical gateway game for?
I don't know. I feel like, it depends from person to person depending on what genre they like. Just like you
Right.
don't have everyone watching horror, everyone watching drama, everyone watching, uh, I don't know, action. You get to choose what genre you like,
Right.
and based off of that, maybe choose a game that you get to play. There's this the gaming the scope for gaming and the amount of different games that there are, it's such a wide variety. And I have friends who play literally everything ranging from Candy Crush and Among Us to Destiny 2 and CS and COD and even like I said, indies and platformers
Mm-hmm.
and even Tetris, for example.
Oh yeah.
Anything you want to play, just figure out what you like and go with it, I guess.
Yeah, nice. That way, I think we in general don't focus a lot on gaming. A lot on games essentially because those don't turn into futuristic hobbies, if you will, because a lot of people think it is a waste of time. But I think gaming essentially is one of those mediums where people can have some productive time, or at least that sort of deep uh, bonding, or at least a platform for deep bonding. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a lot of that happening uh, on uh, in a coffee shop. Maybe I don't know because a lot of people don't do that. They're just on their phones doing stuff, doing random things, and probably checking out their social media in other ways. But I think when it comes to pursuing an objective together, uh, essentially, whether you're of the same sex or otherwise as well, um, it it sort of gives you that platform. So that's how I understood gaming could change the way people think about
Yeah,
hanging out.
definitely the bonds that I've made through gaming are
Right.
gonna last me forever.
That's good. Then that's something that's very rare to hear, by the way, because a lot of people just hit it off like that, and a lot of people just
Mm-hmm.
aren't that lucky. But on the other
Yeah.
hand, uh, who is at least two people that
Mm-hmm.
you've seen are ideal
Mm-hmm.
to your gaming uh stint, if you will. I don't know, your gaming
What do you
career.
mean by that? I
Uh,
don't know what you mean by that.
so I mean, who are the ones that you look up? Who you look up to when
Are
it
you
comes
talking
to
about famous gamers?
even unfamous gamers? It really doesn't matter.
As Okay, so I can't put it down to two, to be honest.
How many?
Um, there's one of my mentors. His name is Miki. He used to work at LXG in Bangalore.
Okay.
League of Extraordinary Gamers in Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely look up to him as a gamer because he also plays World of Warcraft and F1 and all sorts of games, racing, fantasy, multiplayers, Dota, Apex. He plays everything and he's just good at everything and is just accepting of everything, and that's one person I definitely look up to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then Purge, who was my guru in Dota.
Mm, nice.
Uh, and I think there's someone called Obsidian who taught me the current game that I'm playing right now, Apex.
Mm-hmm.
So the two people who taught me this game that I'm playing right now is someone called Semi-Automatic and someone called Obsidian. These two are some of my very close friends, and I really look up to them as gamers.
Nice. And the ones, the bigger, the more popular ones, if you
So Purge from Dota, definitely.
will. Right.
No Cocoa Puffs, who plays Apex.
Right.
And I mean, everyone loves Shroud.
Of
So
course. Bruh. So, and what about you, Fish?
I think the first person would be shot if I'm talking about famous
Gamers. Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there are many actually whom I follow, but
The one that you look
I
up
will
to, like,
just name.
yeah.
Huh?
The ones that you look up to majorly because, something that you want to emulate in your life or in your gaming career specifically. as not even as a professional gamer, but as a gamer in general? Who do you look up to apart from Shroud? Shroud is
It
everybody.
actually totally depends on which game I'm playing. So
Acha.
every time I'm trying a new game, so
Hmm.
I start, following different kind of streamers in the then there are so many. I have to see actually which one.
All right. Uh, may I? Because I'm the one
Yeah.
left. Yeah. So I mean, uh, I when it comes to gamers who've been making a lot of difference. There's this person called Dr. Lupo. We've spoken about him. A lot of people still don't know
Yeah,
about him.
you have.
Uh, but Dr. Lupo is one person who's running a family with a kid, with parents, wife, with a couple of other things, and he raises a lot of money for charity as well, and which is something that is rare to see in gaming community in general. And one person I look up to is that because he has made something possible. He's become that case study for people who haven't exactly thought of gaming as a profession that could help you sustain your life with. So that that way I've seen. I look up to Dr. Benjamin Lupo very much. Famous ones, non-famous ones, and the one who's missing right now, the one who's not even part of the conversation yet, but he was supposed to when he's not here. Uh, is Hackdroid. He has
Huh.
he has been part of the gaming community ever since I resumed gaming. A lot of people was just starting their gaming stint, their journey essentially, and he has been the guy who's been supportive of so many people, and he's been such a magnanimous person that if somebody is running behind somewhere, you just step in and give that booster shot to everybody who needs one. He's a gamer. He's not even a content creator. He's just a gamer. But being a gamer and being that sort of a contributor to that the community itself is too much fun. And I think if I would be, if I can become 50% of what he is today, I'll be more than blessed. But right now he's missing, so I'm kind of pissed right now because he's not here.
Yeah, I was hoping he would be here.
I was also hoping, but again, otherwise as well, guys. They're OG, the low, sorry, OG the low-res chicken. We have that OG guy and Devil Slayer in the panel in the audience. If you guys would like to join in and share your stories on how what sort of issues that you've faced in the gaming community, just raise your hands so that you can be invited to the stage. Yep.
This is giving me major college vibes because every time, you have to speak, you have to raise your
Raise
hand to
hands,
speak in the
yeah.
class. Oh my god, I'm hating this to be honest. Why is it like this that you have to raise your hand whenever you have to speak?
It's basically so that no, not everybody just jumps in, and we have had that sort of
Mhm.
uh you know instance where random people just dropped into the server and they just started speaking and they just you know did their
Okay, okay.
thing like that. So that way, OG Low Rest Chicken has raised hands. I've invited you guys. Devil Slayer, Rest Chicken, Low Res Chicken.
You could just
Please
call
accept
him OG.
OG. There's another OG. There's another person called OG guy
That's OJ.
there. I just don't want to confuse. What's up?
We have OG and OJ today.
What's that Low Res
What's
Chicken?
up?
What's happening?
Hey man, nothing. I just found this link. I'm like, okay, why not just DM and listen to somebody talk for like 30 minutes? So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we go
exactly what's up.
beyond 30 minutes, by the way. Sometimes, in fact, most of the times, we've gone beyond 60 minutes, in fact. So,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. So, share your side of the story. What has been the challenge that you faced in and around the Indian gaming community in general?
Mm, I don't know. It's a weird shell because I kind of started interacting with the community at like when I was 18 or something.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I kind of interacted with the community is casting. Like I had a natural love for the game, so I used
Right.
to what's this called? Just naturally watch a lot of tournaments, enjoy the content and whatnot. And
Mm-hmm.
it came to a point where I was in a position to make this kind of content. So I'm like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of what I went for. Uh, I'd say all things said and done, the journey was pretty nice, but yeah, when you kind of grow in the same industry and you work in it, kind of have different vibes from time to time. Because
Right.
like literally everything you do, like every mistake, every this, every that, it's kind of out there. You know what I mean? There's
Mm,
nothing you can put under the rug in the
right.
digital kind of world.
First, it has a
So
blue. It
yeah,
has a footprint like that. Yeah, makes sense.
so that's kind of been my experience. Always kind of
Right.
balancing on a knife's edge per se when it comes to doing what I do, which is essentially saying stuff on stream, right?
Right.
Like it can be risky stuff. You get the wrong people upset, then there's an entire nightmare that you have to deal with,
Right.
and yeah,
Any
so
example that you want to?
different vibes.
Any one instance that you would like to share that could, kind of define what exactly is the issue? Because I understand I have seen a lot of people hiding behind a username or an IGN, if you will, and they essentially just you know throw up everything they have
Okay.
in mind. Yeah. So I think PUBG's this aeroplane chatter, for example. Everybody
Mhm.
would be turning on their all mics, and some people would be throwing mud from one
So
side or
I'd
the
say
other.
the worst instance when so normally with like how Shrimp described toxicity and stuff, right? Like
Right.
everybody deals with it, and growing up is a part of dealing with that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
You, the more you're vulnerable to it, the more you're vulnerable as an adult, and you know, never a good position to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of learned from that, but the more subtle things like uh, okay, I'll give you an example. So I was just having a casual tournament that I was going to cast. It's between like influencer v influencer, so it's much more relaxed
Right.
rather than a professional tournament where there are going to be strategies, this that you need to talk about, all that jazz. So it was nothing like that. I ended up talking about one influencer a lot who happened to be female, who happened to have like a really broken team, and she happened to take what I said out of context, which in her fairness, everybody sees things in a different way, right?
True.
You might have gone through something, I might have gone through something. There's no point in discounting the other person's point of view just because it doesn't align to yours. But I ended up getting cancelled over that with having no say in the matter.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it didn't leave a stint in my record, but it's still something that you have in the back of your mind, right?
True.
It's still something that will, at the moment when you feel like you could push it and make something big, get a nice line, get whatever, you'd hesitate in that moment.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of understandable from her aspect as well, but just the entire way where people deal with it, right? Where there's a process where you kind of have a social justice code or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that process kind of messes things over because often context is taken out of the picture. And when there's no context, what can you argue with and against?
True. That way, I mean, then there needs to be some sort of understanding and some sort of guidelines or a protocol that needs to be out there so that there is there is an easier identification of the issue that we're facing, essentially, because um, recently I think a lot of nonsensical stuff was happening on a game like Call of Duty Warzone, and that pushed the entire you know um, developer team to put out a banner saying we need to be inclusive, and that also went out on Apex, if I'm not wrong. Shrimp, Slayer. I mean, I think everybody's an Apex player here except for me. These guys were
Yeah,
talking about
no,
like inclusiveness.
there's a lot of inclusivity in Apex, definitely, especially when it comes to gender and orientation.
Right. So, I mean, something that sparked out there, or what was the issue like?
I don't know about issues, but you see, there's a lot of discussions about how in media there's not enough representation of certain ethnicities or certain body types or certain
Well,
orientations, and Apex wanted to create a space that was open to everyone, that everyone felt comfortable in, which is why they have legends from all over the world of all sorts of ethnicities. There's Indians, there's Irish, there's English, there's Americans, there's
right,
Africans, and there's also homosexuals and non-binary characters.
right. So
So
that sort
it's
of
something that makes everyone feel included in the game.
right. That's how these guys just put it out there that okay, if you mess
Mhm.
around, you're gonna get punished for that. Makes sense. And that I think that translated well for the
I
rest of
think
the
no,
community.
saying mess around, you're gonna get punished for that is a very negative way to look at it. I feel like how these guys have done it is a more
Responsible.
positive way to
Yeah.
look at these sort of things, to look at inclusivity.
Yeah. Encourage people to do the right thing
Mhm.
first rather than getting punished because
Yeah,
that way.
exactly.
Right. Interesting. Makes sense. How has your experience been with the whole gaming community in general? Devil Slayer? What's happening?
Um, well, I started playing at a very early age, when it was all offline and all. We used to take coins to the machines that used to have the joystick in them.
Arcade,
But
yeah.
yeah, those used to be the good old days.
Right.
And so coming to online gaming and starting as a creator or just doing it for fun,
Yeah.
because not everyone is having goals like, oh, I want to reach 1,000 subs or 1,000,000 subs or this many viewers. Some
Right.
people are just out there who just like, yeah, I'm playing, I'm gonna stream it. You wanna watch, you can watch.
Right.
So I started like that. And the first thing I streamed was PUBG Mobile
Right.
because Apex I came very late. It was
Okay.
season 3. But
Right.
I tried Apex and I used to play Fortnite and PUBG PC.
Gotcha.
But I started PUBG Mobile because I had a dedicated player base to play with.
Right.
And so I thought, even though being extrovert, I thought having some people to talk around when no one's watching is much more better than being quiet on a stream for a long time. So
Right.
it started really good. I maxed out on 300 viewers on an average.
Oh, nice.
Everything was going good, and then I got into Apex, and it was like the PC version of this era, right?
Right.
And okay, give me 1 second. I got a call.
So that way, I understand that
Hello.
we could just get into that groove of things where people would be inclusive rather than just being forced to do something out of protocol, if you will. Because otherwise, in Indian gaming community, especially when it comes to even communication, the kind of the lack of communication that we've had is, I mean, disheartening, if you will, because people just don't do it. Once they do, they're either being a little too toxic, which has a lot of roots, laid around on the landscape. But on the other hand, people need to understand that this also is a place where once your face gets put on, this needs to be addressed. I mean, once your face is there on your statement, it sort of changes the game for you as well. So I was just looking at one of the Twitter feeds, and I realized that it sort of changed the way the person was perceived. When they were talking about, one person tweets out that the amount of homophobia in the gaming community in general, or just shared disrespect for a certain community, a certain sub community based on certain things is kind of it's kind of disturbing. One of the instances I've understood that people would straight up a gun that they do not like, or a gun that has an unfair advantage over them, they would straight up ending up they would straight up call it gay gun. I mean, using that particular word as an insult is a huge issue.
So
Really,
I have kind of a counter to it,
Okay.
and if not a counter, argument also for why it's kind of in a better place than it used to. So counter to it is, see, at least from my understanding of it, right? Like
Right.
at least with the work that I've done with these kind of topics, I've tried to run a community radio for my college where
Right.
a couple of underprivileged sections and unrecognized parts of the community get a voice. So I worked with people regarding LGBT rights and whatnot. So I brought up this exact question because me being a gamer and me sometimes being a crime of using these kind of things, I wanted to know what their perspective is on it.
Right.
So at least from what my understanding of their entire discussion, which lasted for like 10 minutes regarding this, was it's a term that they use as well. The only difference being is where it's being implied, right? Like they, at least from what they've told me, gay is kind of a fun thing in between them as well, at least in terms of words. Sure,
Right.
when it's being used in an implicitly bad way, like y- I think you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of wrong, but having and generally saying it's wrong is, I don't know, kind of counterintuitive, because at the end of the day it's words, and I think the bigger picture here, sticks and stones
Well,
shouldn't
just
kind of.
essentially using terminology that refers homosexuals as insults is an insult to homosexuals.
True. I mean, the N bomb,
Mm.
for example.
So
So, I think people of color, right? They generally, essentially, black people. If they use the N bomb amongst themselves, these guys are cool with it. But if one of us does that, it's a
Yeah,
problem.
and like if there's no kind of cordial relationship between you and that
Exactly.
person,
yeah,
then
yeah.
Yeah.
So
it kind of gets
it's
silly. Yeah,
essentially
that's
on
understandable.
what your intention is behind using the word. Like,
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean, OG, yes, I understand sticks and stones,
it's all
but
intent. Yeah, like you
but
said.
still using something that describes homosexual, using the word gay,
Right.
all right, as an insult, as call if it's a gun that you hate, all right, calling it gay would essentially mean that you hate
Mm.
the gays, and that's
Yeah. I
not a
mean,
great.
it's a
That's
direct. I mean,
that's essentially toxic. That's being toxic.
yeah. I mean, essentially, also, I mean, does it not take the right to be offended by something like this? I mean, the right to be offended by something like this gets taken back once you're yourself using it. Do you think like that, or you have a counter to that too? Because
No, see, I would never call something that I don't like or something that's bad gay, because I
right,
myself am part of the homosexual community.
right,
And so I wouldn't call something that's bad or something that I don't like as gay, because to me that is not an insult. To me
right,
that is representative of who I am. And
right,
if someone else uses that word as an insult, I feel insulted.
right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So you
Yeah.
are not part of that that subsection of the community who uses the same term as an insult. Do you think that's what you're saying? So that way
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
But
So I
again,
just say that if you're using a word to if you don't like a gun, just call it a bad gun. Just call it
yeah,
just say that it's a gun that doesn't have a good recoil, or doesn't have enough mag space, or doesn't have whatever's wrong with that gun. Say that. Why
trash
do you want to
can
call it
simple.
gay? It doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. I
Doesn't
mean,
make sense to
Yeah.
me.
so that way, I mean, that's what exactly. That's one of the burning questions that I've had, because I've understood that people who really wanted to be part of the community, the gaming community in general, and they also are a part of another community, like homosexual communities, or other LGBTQ or other sub interest communities, and by that I mean subsection. So that way, they are also part of that, and suddenly they they encounter this, and also something like, and it is very, if not same but similar. It is also that. I mean, it's very similar to that instance where the person is saying you're a woman, so you must be noob. So that way, it doesn't come out right, and it's even worse when it comes when nobody's saying that this is a man gun. What does that mean? A trash gun. If that's so happen with guys, I think guys will take offense.
Definitely.
So that way, I think it sort of just is sounding derogatory that way. Just
Mhm.
needs to be inclusive. That's that. And I think that that's the end goal, just so that it kind of turns the community. Gaming itself, is a religion. I'm not comparing it with other religions, but itself is a subsection of humanity where people just come to have some fun together in a very platonic manner. So that way, I think people are very inclusive. They are branching out, doing things and whatnot. But again, that needs to be a little more inclusive, and not be the people who are fencing out others just because
Yeah.
on that
Sid, I think you need to unmute Devil Slayer.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, I just mute.
No, you need to unmute him. Yeah.
Yeah, he now invited to speak. Invited you to speak, Devil Slayer. Also, like I ended up on somebody's stream. I don't know. And this I don't remember clearly. I invited you to speak, Devil Slayer. Sorry. So I ended up on somebody's stream, and it sort of turned out to be the person who was speaking ill about another subsection, which turned out to be
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah. This got bugs as usual.
Bugs. No, it was not bugs. I muted you because you were on a call. So.
Oh yeah. No, you invited me before and I didn't got the accept button.
Oh.
Yeah.
Some
That
sort of
happens. Yeah. So you were talking about this kind of things like it's a man gun and all.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen this a lot. It used to happen in PUBG a lot. Like people who were good with the AK, they were like, "Oh, you can use the man gun, man. You can use the man gun, baby. You're such a man." I've come across those players a lot.
Right.
But recently, not recently, all this overtime in Apex, I saw this beautiful thing happening. It's like the Kraber, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It started with Lulu Lovely. She
Right.
is a content creator for Energy.
Right.
So she was like, looked upon as one of the best Kraber users, and she was entitled like Kraber Queen. Okay.
Nice.
But later on, when other people who came around with the Kraber with some nice tricks and all,
Right.
the term didn't change. It stayed the same. It didn't become like Kraber King. The term stayed the same, like Kraber Queen. And I just saw this like community just accept the fact that it came from that person, and we're gonna keep the originality for it.
Right.
And till date, like Monday took the Kraber Queen, even Hell took the Kraber Queen, and everyone's
Yeah,
just
Queen.
yeah, like
Nice.
that's the so great. I feel good
Yeah.
about this community and being the part of this stuff. Like
Yeah, I mean-
everyone who gets good at the gun, you call the Kraber Queen, and I'm like,
Right.
yeah, that's such a great thing.
That way exactly what I'm saying. It's sort of a tribute to the person who started it. Where
Yeah,
there was this another one, Rendizook, if you will, but that's pretty.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the famous
That's-
ones.
Yeah. So that way, I think people started interacting, and they started emulating other people. But again, Kraber Queen is somewhere in the middle of what we're talking about here. Apart from that, I don't think I've ever heard, pardon me, pardon my ignorance or pardon my lack of knowledge that way, because I've never followed these intricate happenings like that. So, any other instance that you've come across where you've
like this
Where?
kind of like gender representation thing or something.
gender representation, subsections,
Well,
and otherwise?
when Apex started, okay,
Right.
throughout the 6 main seasons till
Right.
Nova came out and Wraith was not,
Mm-hmm.
there was this discussion on Reddit that guys, okay, generally guys, a lot of people will like a game that lets you choose the gender of your character, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be female or you can be the male. Okay?
Cyberpunk.
The story goes on the same, you can just choose the gender.
Right.
It used to be like guys mostly will go for the guy character. Mostly. I'm not saying all of them,
Right.
but mostly.
Yep.
And females will shift to the female or male, whatever they wish.
Right.
But when Apex came around, there was this thing like, I saw a lot of posts going around. They are like, after playing Wraith so much,
Right.
I just feel like playing female characters more. I just like, even like, there are lots of stories, even like, what do you call that? Tomb Raider.
Mhm.
Tomb Raider has this dark community side flashback where
Right.
people used to call people who are like playing that game with a female protagonist, like like, oh my god, why you into that game? It's not for you and all that.
Mhm.
But I think the more we are progressing towards the future, people are like, yeah, doesn't matter. If you want to play a game, you can just play it. What gender is your character? What does that even matter? If you are having fun, if the people you are playing with it are having fun, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Right, but some certain places like this one as well, a lot of things and a lot of times these get blown out of proportion, which is why we're talking about here, so that whoever is at least able to consume this piece of content will get on the same page that okay, this needs to be out there, and this is the end game, that is inclusivity, because otherwise it's not happening. I've seen this happening in Apex, I've seen this happening in Fortnite, I've seen this happening, I think, in Warzone, but I'm not sure. Call of Duty as well, but not exactly sure. But these, because of whatever reason. But Apex, on the other hand, has had the character, the playable character roster, which is very inclusive. Right from Gibraltar, if I'm not wrong, Gibraltar is the one who's gay out of the entire roster. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, GB. And the other one who is non-binary is
Bloodhound.
Bloodhound. Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I love I love the lady who has voiced the person, like voiced Bloodhound.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
she has modulated this voice so well. Yeah. I mean, that if I am simping, I'm simping for that one. By the way, because that way, yeah. I mean that, and then the one who's done Wraith, because I've seen her in The Flash, otherwise as well.
In The Boys, yeah.
She was there, she was there as
Yeah.
a very brief. She had a very brief cameo in The Flash. So the voice actor for Wraith, I'm talking about that one, and she does a job so well.
I think the voice actor for Rampart, the Indian one,
Yeah.
was also the voice actor for Symmetra in Overwatch.
Yeah.
Right.
So you had like two Indian characters voiced by the same woman.
Anjali
That
Bhimani.
I feel like Overwatch also did that really well. The representation of body types, of ethnicities, of gender.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that way, I've not played much of Overwatch, so would not be able to comment on that. But like Apex, on the other hand, has by heart, because hands down the best creative team ever. These guys have created such a game that has so much more than what it looks right on the screen. Although it's just a 60-player lobby, but you guys have so much more to share, and
Yeah.
that's
definitely.
what it is. On the other hand, but apart from this, and she's what, 47 years old? What? Anjali Bhimani, 47 years old? Wow. I just discovered. Sorry. I was just randomly, because doing it, that happens. But on the other hand, I think this was a fabulous conversation. These guys, with Little Fishy, OG, OG the lowest chicken. Sorry, it doesn't slip right off my tongue. My bad.
Mhm.
Purple shrimp, Devil Slayer.
Mhm.
We had a fun conversation, and I hope to do this again. We're about to switch over to some community games, if you will, if you guys would like to. And I think that's the end of the podcast. From what we understand, towards the end of the podcast, is inclusivity needs to be there. We can't be intolerant just right off the bat, and we can't be using things like intolerance as an excuse when you're also part of the problem. So with
Yeah.
this was a fabulous conversation, guys. Thanks a lot for joining in,
Thanks for having us.
and we will be switching over to a couple of other things like Pico Park if you guys would like to play, or something else. What do
I'm
you say?
hopping off though. Thanks, Siddharth. Good night.
All right. Good night.
Good night, guys. Good night, Devil Slayer. Bye, little fishy.
Bye.
Good night,
It was
guys.
nice talking
Good
to
night.
y'all.
Yep.
All right. You guys. All right. Just that you plan to stay on. We're just about to switch over to another live stream where we're going to play some games.
What are you gonna play?
I am open to options right now. What do you say?
But I can't run anything right now. My PC can't
Fortnite?
run anything. I don't have it installed.
How long will it take though?
It cannot run anything. My PC is literally dying.
What have you done to that?
I have not done anything. I'm telling you, nothing works now. Even Minecraft doesn't work right now.
What?
I don't know what's the issue. I think it's either my hard disk or it's RAM or it's one of the.
Sheesh. But-
Sheesh, indeed.
Yes. Bomb Squad खेल सकते हैं. Bomb Squad. Rishabh is saying Bomb Squad. He's right here in the chat. Guys, we're switching over to the next live stream, but this was a fun conversation. Who's in the VC with you right now? That's little fishy. What are the OGs in the community? In the Flypswitch HQ as well. I mean,
Thank you for inviting me.
I am so glad that you're here. It's been a while that we've interacted as well. And we're switching over to the new live stream. I just want to check out how this feature works as well. So I'm just going to end the stream. Then we're going to switch over. Stick around, boys and girls. Please. Yes, it's going to send over to the new live stream. And we're going to start that one in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.